Welcome back, everyone.
Welcome back.
I'm not finished yet.
Sorry.
You can do the intro, the exciting intro. Oh my gosh. Welcome back, everyone, to our second episode of the official Business and Life Unscripted with
Lisa and Marshall.
I was supposed to say the Marshall part, but that's okay. I thought we'll have to rehearse that. Should we start now?
We need to.
This is Unscripted.
Unscripted at its finest.
What's going on, Lisa?
Oh, I made sure to wear the purple toque today, as promised.
It's a good looking toque. It's a good looking
Thanks.
toque. Is that a tag on it? Do you have a tag still on it? Oh, no,
It's
that's
the
it.
logo.
Oh, okay.
I don't even know what brand it is, but it's that brand, whatever it is.
Oh, it would have been great if it was a tag still. It would have been like
That would be hilarious.
walk around
Because
all
I've
day.
worn it so many times.
So this show is called officially Business and Life Unscripted, and it's unscripted because business and life is unscripted, right? Things happen. Things happen. So today, I believe we are talking about. Well, I'm throwing you, so you have no idea what I'm doing here. What I'm about to do.
No, we're unscripted.
We're unscripted. So we're gonna talk about desire. However, something else came up for me this morning. So today is 27 years, my 27th anniversary of my business when I started my sign and graphics business. Not my coaching, my sign and graphics. November 4th, okay, November 7th, 1994. So I did a post on Facebook about all the things that I went through. And as I was doing it, and it was like 3 locations, 2 break-ins, all the stuff, hiring, firing, quitting, 2 mergers and acquisitions and all this stuff, right? Great sales, crappy sales, almost closing the door, almost getting, well, I did get part of the Olympic, tiny percentage of the Olympic signage, very small percentage, but it was still something. But I started, as I was writing it or posting it, and then people are like responding, oh, great, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff, which is nice. But it's not why I put it. It was more for, you can do this if you, and I went on about certain things, being clear, being focused, building a team, that sort of thing. One thing I didn't put in there, I don't think, and I think it sums up all of it, because 27 years is a freaking long time.
Yeah.
Well, there's 2 parts: resilience, right?
Yeah.
Because I thought, okay, we're going to talk about desire today. I thought, am I still in it? Did I survive 27 years and now 10 years in coaching because of desire? Coaching, and that's interesting, right? My coaching,
yeah.
You go. What?
It's just interesting because of, well, I know it's unscripted, but I do have a couple little notes because I wasn't really sure where to go with the whole desire thing. And I wasn't sure if we were going to be on the same page, but I like where you're going with this.
Well, I mean, you've been in business for a few years as well, and you've had some freaking ups, awesome ups, and some really bad downs, right? So what for me, and I'd like to hear from you, for me, what kept me going? Well, it's interesting because I thought about this like 5 minutes before we got on here. This is why it's called Unscripted.
It's great.
My coaching is desire, 100%. And there's resilience in there for sure, which we can talk about. But in my sign graphics company, because it really was never my purpose, right? I just grew up in an entrepreneurial family. I want to have my own business. This is how I got to, I want to get into the ad business, right? In the early 90s, marketing, like recession, it was horrible. No one was hiring in the marketing and or ad agencies. And so I thought, okay, this opportunity came up. It was kind of advertising related. So that's how I got into blah, blah, blah. 27 years later, here I am. I didn't think I had a choice. What I mean by that, we all have choices. But this was in a good way. As I got into the business, a couple years in, everything's great, right? Still rah. Struggling to get clients at times for sure, and all that kind of stuff, building it, but it's still a couple years in. But as things got really tough, I never thought about that failure was an option.
Right.
Seriously, there were times very close to closing the doors, but I really didn't think it was an option. And I don't know if that's resilience. I don't know if it's ignorance,
Stubbornness.
stubbornness.
I
But I
think
didn't.
that is resilience. I mean, that's deciding that you're going to do something and sticking to it. That's resilience right there.
Yeah, I just thought of that just before going on. I just wanted to mention that I really didn't think it was a choice to shut my doors. Right? At times I looked at selling. That was a choice. That was an option.
Right.
But I never really went too far with it. And I want to create something. I set out to create something and just didn't think it was an option to just pack up and leave. I'm not saying that's for everyone. I mean, for some people, listen, if you don't have a good product or a good service and nobody wants it because it's not a good product or service, then yeah, you might be in the wrong industry. But we're assuming that you're in the right industry, you have a good product, you have a good service. Right. Something else. So is it desire that carries you through? Is it resilience? Is it a bit of both? Is it failure is not an option? What do you think? You're still here. You're just like me. You're still here.
Yeah. It's funny because when we initially spoke about doing episode 2 on desire, I was like, yeah, because it's such a tempting word, desire. I mean, it makes you think of, chocolate cake and stuff. What do you want, right? But then when I really tried to think of how I felt about that word, I'm like, I don't know if I feel really strongly about it. And it's funny because this all came to me this morning as well. When I woke up, I figured, I do feel strongly, but maybe not in the way, like maybe I was looking at it the wrong way or trying to look at it in a particular way, in more of a motivating way, I guess. Because I mean, that's what we do as coaches, right? We want to motivate people, but I think it's also so important to moderate things like desire. And so I think as coaches, as much as we're there to motivate, we're also there to guide people and help them realize what's important and what needs to be put to the wayside a little bit when it comes to desire. And then I also thought, how can I feel not so strongly about the word desire when we talk about passion? And I'm like, I feel so strongly about passion. So I actually decided to look up in the dictionary, Google dictionary, what is the difference between passion and desire. So the definition of desire is a strong feeling of wanting to have something or wishing something to happen. Passion is strong and barely controllable emotion. And that made sense to me. And I kind of thought that passion is more internal. That's something that comes from within. And I don't think that, it's funny because you say failure wasn't an option. And I know that you've said also that coaching or coaching is your purpose, you're passionate about your family, and your sign and graphics wasn't really tied into either of those, but maybe it was, because a strong and barely controllable emotion like failure wasn't an option for you. So maybe you were really passionate about that at the time, but people grow and change, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. And I don't want to give the wrong impression that I don't have passion for my business. There's a difference. We talked about this. I don't think we talked, actually, maybe we talked about it last week. There's a difference between passion and purpose. I thought for the longest time, and it didn't, this is also coming to me, see, it's unscripted. I thought for the longest time, I would say up until maybe like early 2000s to the late 2000 to like till 2009, 2010. I thought, not 2010, because we were swamped with the Olympics, and I was like in love with my business because it was like, this is awesome.
Those moments are great.
Yeah, but I thought that my business had to be my passion. We talked about this because
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
right the passion test. Find your passion. Blah blah blah. Passion. The passion. And I thought it's not my passion, and I started feeling less passionate about my business because it was my passion.
Right.
So then that was again the pressure from the outside gurus about you have to live your passion.
Right.
And it's bullshit.
Right.
People. Bullshit. Bullshit. It was part of my purpose because I wanted to create something. And I was also feeding, like I had staff, I was helping the economy, I was making a difference, I was helping businesses. I wasn't necessarily passionate about it for the longest time because I thought it had to be my passion. If that makes sense.
Right. Right. Yeah. Well, I think there's a difference maybe then between, and this may not even make sense, but your passion and something you're passionate about.
100%. Yes. Thank you. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. 100%. It's still not my passion. My family is my passion.
Right.
Coaching, helping other business owners is my passion. And I'm passionate about it.
Right.
My other business, it's not my passion. I'm passionate about it. There's times where I know you feel the same way, and I'm sure people watching this, where you like get up in the morning, and it's like, really? But then I personally go back, and this is a hack, I guess. I go back to my why. Right. And I've had to, over the years, it's all changed a bit, but I've had to create my why so it resonates with me, why I do what I do. And it now kind of blends in together, the two businesses. Right. So really, my sign and graphics business has become a strong part of my why because it helps feed my family, but it helps and my staff feed their family. And like during the pandemic, we've talked about this. We totally helped out in the community, and a lot of businesses, we helped them protect and save lives, and with COVID graphics and all that stuff. And I really felt alive and really much more passionate then because we were really making a difference. Because in the end, that's what I want. And we've talked about this. I think your personal why and your business why need to be not in conflict. They might not be 100% congruent, but they cannot be conflicting.
Right.
Right. And for the first time in a long time, they were really congruent because I love to make a difference. Right. I want to make a difference like you. I want to help people. And, with COVID and all the graphics, it was making a difference. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Right. Even though it was scary shit because all of us as business owners had no idea what was around the corner. No one did. And we still don't.
Right.
Right. But there was, I don't know where I'm going with this.
It's funny because what it came down to for me with the definitions here was really desire, I think, is driven more from external factors, and passion is driven more from internal factors, right? So, I feel the desire to do this podcast, right? I like it. I want it. It's something that I desire, but the motive behind it has more to do with how passionate I feel about getting people to think about things that they may not have and ask themselves certain questions. And so my purpose, I feel like, is to share my experience and what I've learned. So that's internal. Whereas this podcast is an external factor. And I think that's where the difference is between, so like passion and purpose come from within, as cheesy as that may sound. But desire is more similar to fear, because I actually decided to look up the definition of that as well. I got really curious about words this morning. So fear, an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something, so external, is likely to cause pain or a threat. Or I think it's, or a threat. So I think fear and desire, words have as much power as we give them, right? Things like fear and desire are so easily influenced by what's going on around us.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas you can't tell someone that, you can't convince someone that they're not passionate about something, or that their purpose isn't their purpose, right? So it's kind of part of who you are. Whereas I can see an ad for McDonald's breakfast, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I desire that.
Right. But you're not passionate about it.
No, I mean,
maybe
sometimes it might feel that way, but
yeah. But I think but I think, and I've been talking a little bit about this in the groups, I think desire is it's energy.
Yeah.
Right. Desire, if you don't desire, listen, let's put it out there. There are a lot of people out there struggling.
Yeah.
Whether they're owning their own business, full-time, part-time, or even in their job, or even in their family. It hasn't been an easy 20 months. It's never an easy 20 months, first of all. That's the thing. I was
just thinking that. I'm like, it's never easy, but
let's
past
call it
a while. Yeah.
Yeah. But let's call it spade. It's never an easy 20 months.
Yeah.
It always takes work, but obviously the last 20 months have been more challenging. And more people have been affected. So I think a lot of people got into business for themselves this past year and a half. I'm not going to say for the wrong reasons,
right,
but they didn't get into business. Not all, some of them didn't get into business, and guys might be watching, and you might be one of them. So comment below if this is you. We should actually do this live. We can get real-time feedback.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do it live. But anyways, they got into business. They got into business not with the desire, but more out of need. Maybe they were laid off their job, or they were sick of it, or who knows, something happened with the pandemic, or they saw all these other people starting their own gigs, so they just thought they would take their skill and start their own gig. And it really wasn't really wasn't because they desired to do it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Now that doesn't mean you guys should just give up, pack up, and quit now.
Well, no, 100%. Money's important too, right?
But it's not just that. The desire, you can create desire.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You can create desire. That's a choice.
Yeah.
You don't have to agree with me on that if you don't.
No, I do. Like I was just talking about advertisements that create, like it's external. You can create it. Yeah. You can choose what to focus on, right? And
yes, good point. Excellent point. You choose what you focus on. You choose how you respond, how you react, and what is that you want. If you get it, and this is what I've seen all along, pandemic or no pandemic, people get into business. And this is one of the reasons why I started coaching. A lot of people and it's kind of like the E-Myth too. A lot of people got into business. They take their skill set and they start a business. And they have no idea how to run the business, but they know how to clean houses. They worked for another company, so they started their own business. They made signs for another company. That wasn't me though. they start their own sign company, right? I was different because I had no experience. I wanted
Good for
that,
you.
right? Which was good.
Yeah.
It was good. It was actually, so here it is. Here's a gold nugget. You are thinking of starting a business. Start a business you know nothing about.
Right.
Hire people.
Well, also, I mean, if you don't know anything about it, your mind's going to be open. You're not going to think that you know everything. Oh man, so many times I've had to take ownership, like our last one,
Yeah.
and put myself in check and be like, maybe you should open your mind a little bit. Maybe you don't know everything, because that one can be difficult.
Yeah.
The ego can really get in the way.
Especially if you're really good at your craft, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like if someone's like has a digital marketing agency and they're like skilled at SEO and SEM and whatever, all this other digital marketing stuff, paid advertising, Google ads and all that kind of stuff, Facebook advertising, and they worked for another firm and they say, screw that, I'm going to just do my own gig, take control of my own destiny, have more freedom, on the freedom part. You think you have more freedom. But you can, but a lot of times we don't. But it wasn't for, things will get tough. And for some people, things are tough and they've been in business for a year or something and they're doubting themselves and the desire is lacking, I think. Again, this is unscripted. Right. I might be right. I think for some people, well, because I've had a lot of conversations with people over the last 20 months.
Yeah.
A lot of people. Yeah. And I think a common theme has been, besides people doing everything themselves, which gets overwhelming. Mm-hmm. See, if you have a desire, I don't know. Desire. Here's the thing. Does desire build resilience? Is it separate from?
Well, I was saying, pardon me, that we give power to words. And I think we have to be careful how much power we're giving to certain words. And it's the motive behind it and the energy behind it. I think that you have to ask yourself, does this word desire in this context deserve that much power? So I actually got curious about another definition, which I thought, why the motive behind it. I was thinking of the word sacrifice, and the definition here, the power, maybe that's not definition, where is it? Here we go. An act of giving something or giving up something valued for the sake of something else, regarded as more important or worthy. So you don't have to, but I think it's important to understand how worth it something is to you, and I think it's important to look ahead when you're feeling desire for something. What are your values? What are your core values? Yeah. Is it in line with that? So an example would be, I really want to take care of, like on the personal side, right? I really want to take care of my health, but I also really desire that piece of chocolate cake. So I'm going to moderate and I'm going to sacrifice the entire cake and just take a slice, Right. Bear with me here. I'm not sure if I'm explaining this all properly. But I think knowing that limit, knowing your core values and knowing that limit is important when it comes to desire, because I think it's something that we have to be in control of and choose how much power we give to it. So I think if you're willing to sacrifice certain things for that desire, then it's worth it.
Right.
Yeah. I hope my message came across as clearly
I did.
as it could. Okay, cool. Good.
No, it did. No, yeah. I actually made a good point. We put so much emphasis, and I threw out the word desire, resilience. We put so much emphasis on these words. Listen,
Right.
the whole point is, if you're in business for yourself, or you're working for someone else and you want to start your own business, there really does need to be, whatever you want to call it, burning flame, desire, something inside your belly,
Yes.
that really, and that's why, with my clients, I always talk about our why, and I always say, why really needs to make you cry.
It's your foundation.
What do you mean it needs to make me cry? Like, it just needs to, the point is, like, again, it's words, like, freaking just lay off what I really mean here and just back off for a second. And it's like, what I really mean is, the meaning behind the meaning is, needs to resonate with you. You need to be able to get up in the morning, look at your why and say, that's why. Like, it's been pissing rain here for like 17 months. It feels like, right? It's been horrible. It's not right now, I don't think. But so it's hard. And now we have daylight savings, so it's better. Okay, it's a little bit, it's not as dark anymore. Well, it's still raining, but for a while it'll be okay. Brightness wise, it'll be a dreary bright as opposed to a dark dreary or dreary dark. But we wake up and it's like, oh, I don't want to do this. Look at your why. And it's like, that's why. That's why I'm going to do it this today. That's why I'm getting up. That's why I'm building this, because there's whatever you want to call it, desire, whatever. Resilience is in there for sure. You have to be resilient in everything, in anything you do, if you want to get anywhere. And for me, I didn't think of those words for the last 27 years, desire, resilience, when it came to my sign and graphics company, right? I did what I needed to do, because I said failure to me wasn't an option.
Right.
Maybe that's ignorant. Maybe I should have shut down 10 years ago.
Well, no, but look at where you are now.
Or sold my business, or maybe I should have sold 10 years. Maybe I would have been further ahead. Who knows? But I did what I did. I still had desire and to do certain things. I didn't know it at the time. But now, as a coach people, I see desire, passion. How'd you put it?
I'm not sure.
Being passionate rather than it being your passion, right?
Yeah.
Having that fire inside you. Being very, very important. And learning how the tools and techniques of how to reignite it when you need to. Because sometimes it wanes.
Right. Yeah.
You're not gonna wake up every morning like that's, and that we set ourselves up for failure that way. Expecting to be wake. I told you this story, but I'm not gonna say who it was. I had a coach. It was their coaching program. It was a famous person's coach under them. And every time she'd get on the call with me, she'd say, hey, I would say, I can't remember her name now. Got blocked out of my memory. I said, I'd say, how are you doing? She goes, super, super duper fantastic. Couldn't be better. And it's such crap. It's like, to think you have to be like that every single day, every single moment of the day is way too much pressure for someone.
Not only is it too much pressure, but back to the word sacrifice. I mean, how much value does something hold? And if we're always happy and everything is always great, nothing's worth it. If you're not sacrificing and you're not fighting for something, and you don't have that desire to keep going when it's hard, you haven't placed that much value on it, which is why your why is so important. It's your foundation. You don't build a house on sand. Your why is the base of what you're doing. So like you said, it's so important to be able to look back at your why, because that's your foundation. That's going to keep and it has to have it has to have value to you, because on those days where you're not feeling that desire, because desire is going to come and go. It's external. It's not within.
Yeah.
It can waver. And if you look at your why and it's nothing, it's sand, that desire can easily fade, and you can easily give up that way.
It's interesting you brought up sacrifice. So so John Maxwell, as you know, is my mentor, and that's who I studied with all those years ago. And in one of his books, 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, I don't remember which number it is. I'll call it number 14. I'm making that up. I have the book here. I should look, but it's the law of sacrifice. Okay. And the law of sacrifice states it's the giving up of something of lesser value for the attainment of something of a greater value.
Yeah.
Or giving up something of lesser value for something of a greater value. I don't know if it's for an attainment of, but something, whatever, you get the idea. And so when I was studying with him, that was top of mind all the time. That really resonated with me. So I'm a huge hockey fan, huge Canucks fan. I don't know why.
No one knows why they're a Canucks fan. Oh no.
Is it desire? It's resilience. I'll tell you that for sure.
Yeah.
Go through all those ups and downs. But anyways, the point I'm trying to make is I don't think I used to watch every single game, 82 games in a season. I'd rather go or watch. But when I was going through his leadership training program for about the 5 months I was doing it during the hockey season, well, most of the hockey, I watched maybe 5 games, because I have my business during the day, because I wasn't coaching at the time. I was just training to be business during the day. Came home, I had a young family. So my time was with them. When they went to bed, then I just did my studies and my training. And I never sacrificed family time. I sacrificed watching hockey games, really, because it was something of a lesser value for something of a greater value.
Right.
And I think that's something that's a really, really good point. And there was, I didn't think of the word desire at the time, but there was this burning need in me,
Right.
if you want to call it desire, whatever, to do this because I wanted to achieve this, which was making a difference, coaching, training, teaching, all that kind of stuff. So it never, ever, at that time, it was never work. And even my coaching business, to me, it's never work.
Right.
Because I still have this burning desire inside of me, or this burning need. Maybe it's a need, but it goes back to, you said it earlier, values. And I think that's huge. And that's for definitely another conversation, but it's all, what's inside here for me is all tied to my values.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Yeah. That's how you know what to throw away and what to keep in life, right? And making those difficult decisions, like giving up hockey games.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't a difficult decision at the time because family just trumps hockey.
Yeah.
So if you're going after a desire that can easily be trumped by so many other things, then maybe it's not worth going after. I know that sounds very pessimistic, but I'm just trying to steer people in the direction of being careful when it comes to desire, because desire can be healthy or unhealthy. And if I mean, when we're young, right? Like toddlers, 2-year-olds, we haven't really fully developed an ego, right? And I think ego has a negative stigma. I think that having a healthy ego is very important. But I do think that ego is actually a good thing. It's your personality. You have to have it.
Yeah.
But we're not born with Like we're born with a stress response, right? That's survival, but we're not born with fear because it's external. We're not born with we're not born with an ego, and we have to form that over time. Hold on, I was going somewhere with this.
I think the toque is too tight.
Desire in a 2-year-old, they haven't defined any core values, anything like that. They're going to run around all willy-nilly. If we were all running around without any moderation or any diligence in our desires, that because desire is definitely important. I mean, you have to have those things at the end of the day, you know, like that piece of chocolate cake or whatever, you know, it makes life worth living, but we need to be so careful about what desire, if we want to look at the big picture, right? There's that immediate gratification, but if it's not tied in with your core, if it goes against your core values, you're just going to hurt yourself in the long run. So being really careful about choosing what to feel that desire for is very important.
Well, yeah, it goes back to, like you said, it needs to be in line with your core values.
Yeah.
And that's where it needs. Like, I know you held back saying, oh, you don't need to do this. You need to have, that's the need. You really need to have your core, whatever the desire is, to be in line with your core values and your why.
Right.
And your what you want to create. Because that, you're right. It's a great point that we can end on. Desire can lead you astray.
Yes.
It's kind of catch-22. Like without desire, you can be led astray. And with desire, you can be led astray.
Right.
Keep it in check.
Yeah.
Is it so important to know? And it's interesting. Last night I did a core values exercise, which was really cool. I haven't done that in a while. And yeah, it was interesting. I learned a little bit more about myself. And yeah, whatever you are desiring, whatever you think you want, whatever is going on with you, and if you have that burning thing in your belly, is it in line with why you want, what your why is, what you want, or what your what is, why and what, and your core values? And if it is, follow that.
Absolutely.
If it's not, it could steer you astray, personally and professionally, for sure.
Yeah, I think the question to really ask yourself is, what's the motive behind my desire?
Yeah.
And is that in line with the big picture for who I want to be, what I want my business to be, and where I want to go?
Yeah. And know, and this is another thing I want to leave everyone with, especially people who are in the first year or two. It's not easy. So whoever, and I've said this before, whoever out there says it's easy, and these experts who are telling you, take my program, you'll earn a 6 or 7 figure business in my 90-day program, give me $10,000 to do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Do your research. It's not easy. When they say it's easy, it's not. It could be simple, but it's not easy. There are shitty days.
There are. Well, hey, I mean, if you're going to talk about people in their first year or two, that's the honeymoon phase. You're going to be married to your business. So you have to be very careful. You can look at it like a ball and chain.
Yeah. Or
you can perceive it as an opportunity to strengthen when things get hard.
Yeah. And build, and this is going on other topics we'll talk about, but don't do it all by yourself. That's why we're here to help. I think it's probably a little bit of education, inspiration, experience, not a word, just made it up.
Philosophy. These are very philosophical conversations we have, and I enjoy them. Well,
I hope my mom is enjoying watching this. She's the first and only viewer, but other people will watch this.
I really hope that my Nana can power through another episode.
Well, you got a different color toque on. I'm wearing the hat, so
Yeah, change it up, right?
It's all good. Okay. Anything else you want to add before we sign off and let people get back to their busy lives?
I think we nailed the definition of, maybe not the definition, but the importance of desire and when it's useful and when it's not.
Yeah, excellent.
Good
Perfect.
stuff.
All right, everyone have a great week. We will see you again next week. That's all I have for you.
We need an outro.
We need an outro too.
We need an outro in a bad way. All right, let's go.
Bye-bye.
See you next week.